And we're back with one of my special guests this week. You may know him as Dimitri from the hit series Cobra Kai on Netflix, Mr. Gianni DeCenzo. Johnny, how are you?
It's a hit series because I get hit in the face a lot.
Yeah, but
Great.
it looks like, so much fun to make, and it's become
Oh,
probably my favorite show that I look forward to. Whenever a new season has been announced, I remember discovering the show on YouTube when it first came out in, I believe it was 2017. And
yes.
within the first few minutes of the first episode, I fell in love with it. How has it been for you to be a part of what's become, it's extended the Karate Kid lore from the movies back in the 80s. How has it
Mhm.
been for you to join that storyline?
Honestly, it's been insane. Since we were first on YouTube, when I went on that one audition, I had no idea what it was gonna be. I was just like, "Oh, cool! It's the Karate Kid 30 years later. All right, I'll do it." I do the one audition, and they're like, "All right, great, we'll go," because it was in such a they were under such a time crunch to find my character. I only got to do the one audition. And so I flew out that week and I filmed a couple of episodes. I think I was in like 7 of the 10 episodes in the first season. And yeah, I really had no idea what it was going to become. And when it finally came out to YouTube, it was a small audience at first because the platform was obviously new. But yeah, people loved it. And I didn't realize until after it came out how many people were expecting it to fail. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know that because if I knew people were expecting it to be a failure while I was recording it, I think I would be kind of terrified. But no, I'm just super happy to be a part of this. It's an amazing experience.
Well, I think anytime you bring back a franchise, whether
Mm.
it's, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be, there's always going to be some reservation about why is this being brought back. But I think what Cobra Kai has done and has really set the standard is bringing back the original characters years later. And obviously, the longtime fans are going to be curious to see where those characters are. But
Mm.
you introduce new characters like, yourself as Dimitri, Miguel, Samantha, other characters as well. Cobra Kai to me has set the standard for introducing new compelling characters.
Mm.
Would you agree?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the really cool thing about being in a show like this, usually the reboots they always kind of end up being flops. They depend on the nostalgia to bring in views without actually like contributing to the story. But luckily, the creators of this show, they're just such super fans of the original Karate Kid trilogy. They work so hard to like integrate every new plot into the original series without like being too dependent on the original source material. I mean, yes, we have flashbacks and stuff like that to kind of set the scene for some stuff, but it's not dependent on the nostalgia to bring in any views, which I love. I've never seen anyone like do a reboot. I guess you could call it reboot, uh, like this. Like it's honestly they should do kind of classes on how to do reboots. The creators, John, Josh, and Hayden. Some people could use those classes.
No, I
But yeah.
100% agree. As I mentioned, it set the standard for what a continuation or a reboot should be of a classic
Mm.
series. And one thing I'm excited to talk with you about is I feel like the Dimitri character, if you look at the new faces that are introduced in the first season, you have one of the more interesting arcs and developments.
Well, thank
In
you.
the end of season three, as we're recording this, season four isn't out yet, but even from season three all the way back to the first episode in season one is almost a completely different transformation and has some of the more interesting scenes and developments throughout the series. So, how has that been for you as an actor to play a character that starts in one place and then ends up completely different?
It's so much fun. I've never been able to play like such a long-standing character like this. I had done other things in the past, but getting to play one character for like I think 6 years now is just amazing because you discover new things about the character, and in later seasons, my job becomes easier because they just become their own person. I just slip in and out of the character of Dimitri. Like just boom, because he's just at this point kind of alive, right? It's just awesome, and getting to see him go from like this nerdy character season one, getting his backpack thrown into a pile of yogurt, to now kind of holding his own against Hawk and maybe other characters. Although now Hawk and Dimitri are kind of starting to become binary bros again. Like we'll see some more of that later on in season four. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, they have a long road of friendship recovery, I guess you could call it, building bridges with reconstructing those bridges. It's super fun. I'm so excited for season four, but yeah, it's just awesome seeing kind of a nerdy character turn into sort of a more badass character. And the thing I love most about that is that even though he's becoming more confident in himself, he's never actually going to stop being, nerdy Dimitri. He's just a more self, loving character. Like he understands now that he can respect who he is now. That's the best way I could put it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What has been some of your favorite moments playing Dimitri? Specific moments from the show, because one that comes to my mind is when Hawk breaks Dimitri's arm, and just seeing the intense expressions and just the everything from the music and watching the other characters react was really a powerful scene to watch. So, what have been some of your favorite moments of playing Dimitri?
It's actually funny that you bring up the arm break scene. So I like to rehearse all of my scenes like a couple days in advance. It is so hard to rehearse a scene where you're screaming in agonizing pain without getting the cops called on you. So I actually had to like go into my closet with all like my jackets hanging there so it would muffle my screams as I'm like rehearsing this. Because I'm in like an Airbnb, I stay in Georgia for like 3 months out of the year filming this. So my neighbors don't exactly know me. I come there and then to hear me screaming in a distance, it's like, yeah, that would be terrifying. But yeah, my favorite scene. Honestly, my favorite scene would have to be the very first one I ever filmed in the cafeteria. I just love, seeing Dimitri, from the very beginning, how he's so different from what he is in season three. And it's actually funny because we did a bunch of alternate takes with his little speech. He's like, oh, yeah, we hand all the time, make out, give each other hand jobs. The creators of the show were on set and they actually threw a bunch of alt lines. And so one of them was like, oh, yeah, we hang out all the time, make out, have consensual relations. Just like really weird stuff like that. I think I did like 20 or so takes of all just different, lines. I hope they eventually release those because I'm trying to remember what the other ones were. They were a lot of fun. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I would love to see, kind of like whether it's a gag reel or maybe deleted scenes or some type of montage. Yeah. I think that'd be great to see.
We have some interesting things that happen on set. Like when the camera's rolling, it's kind of amazing. We have some things in season four that hopefully we'll have a gag reel. We do have a couple, but yeah, I don't know if we'll have one for season four. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Hopefully so, because those are always, so entertaining to see. But I think what makes your character so intriguing is that whether you're in high school or you've been in high school, I think everybody knows a character like Dimitri. Maybe not like a super nerd or a geek or anything like that, but someone who's just different. So I think it speaks to a certain level of relatability. When I think that's what drew me to your character in the first place. And from a personal standpoint, my fiance and I, we binged season 3 the day it came out, and a lot of your content has been the highlight of the entire show. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's just so entertaining from, the performances by the actors, the storylines, the writing. It's all this class should be taught to me in film and television classes.
Hmm. Honestly, I would love to take that class too. I want to eventually get into like making film and television. I could use a class or two, yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. So,
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about what initially made you want to get into acting in the first place. Because I've talked with directors, actors, producers, and there's not really a how-to book or a guide to
Mhm.
get into the industry. Everybody has kind of their own unique journey. What is your
Mhm.
journey, and what made you want to get into the acting business?
Honestly, I owe my entire career to my parents because they were the ones that really helped me get into it. I started when I was about 8 years old. My parents were actors. They're still, acting a little bit, and they actually met in an acting class. And my dad later proposed in that acting class. He was doing like this, I guess, scene exercise, and it was like, oh, pretend you're proposing. And so he got down on one knee and he actually pulled out like a diamond. That's method acting right there.
That's brilliant.
Um, yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. I love telling that story. It's my favorite. So yeah, like acting has always been in my family and in my blood. And yeah, one day when I was 8 years old, I just walked up to my parents and I was like, "Hey, when am I going to be on TV?" And they were like, "Oh, okay, we didn't know you wanted to do that. Great." So my mom put me in like my best little button-up T-shirt. We went to my backyard. She took pictures of me, sent it out to agents and managers. And honestly, the way that it worked out for me was my mom would go on these like sites and submit me for student films or like short films, stuff like that. I would say for the first 2 or 3 years, most of the things I did for free, just for experience, because that's honestly the biggest thing anyone could use, like learning how to work on a set. And it's a great way to learn. Like you could take all these classes, and you should always take classes, but getting to actually be on sets and see how it works, nothing compares. So yeah, I've been doing that since now I'm 20, so it's been a long journey, and I'm super grateful to them. I love it.
And you brought up something that I think is great. Your classes are great. I've taken some
Mhm.
classes myself, and I recommend them because they're great to learn the basics, but you can't beat on the job training. Whether you're a PA and you get to watch, the director rehearse with the actors, you get to watch the director of
Mhm.
photography set up the camera and set up lighting. You can learn so much just
Mhm.
by watching and just asking, hey, how can I help?
Yeah, no, that's honestly, I've been trying to watch from a distance. Like, I don't want to get in the way of anyone, but I'll watch from a distance as we're filming Cobra Kai to see kind of how they're doing things. Because, like I said, I eventually want to get into directing and stuff like that. So, yeah, getting to see how it's actually done, it's big help. But I do, yeah, eventually want to take classes, maybe like writing classes. I'm not the most literate person in the world, I guess you could say. So yeah, writing classes would certainly be helpful.
Well, and it's great to have, aspirations to do other things
Mm,
besides acting because there's so much you can do in the industry and the only way to learn is to do it. I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's
writing
yeah, yeah.
101.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned as an actor from working on Cobra Kai? Because you've got to work alongside, names like Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, Martin Kove that have been in the industry a long time.
Mhm.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned as an actor from Cobra Kai?
I think the biggest lesson is just kind of roll with the punches. Like it's in acting and in the film industry, it's not a smooth business. Things come up and you just kind of have to deal with it and react. Like you got to always be ready. When I had first got the audition for Cobra Kai, actually, I hadn't really gotten an audition for I want to say like a year or so. I was in that kind of awkward phase where I was like an underage teenager, but my height was like an 18-year-old. And people, they always try to look for older people to play younger. And so, yeah, my auditions were kind of drying up at that point in time. And yeah, it just kind of showed that to me personally that you kind of have to wait it out. If this is something that you love, it's not an overnight process. Like I said, I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. So you just have to stick with it. If it's what you love, you can't go wrong. But yeah, getting to work with, Ralph Macchio and William Zabka, they're just extreme professionals. I love the opportunity to get to work with them. I get to work with Billy a little bit more in season four, because mostly I would work with Ralph because, I'm in Miyagi-Do and stuff like that. But when I actually first, in season one, when I first tried to join Cobra Kai with Eli, he flips me and everything like that. In between takes, he would actually teach people how to do proper like fighting stances and how to actually throw punches like a sensei. And that was just super cool to see. And Ralph is a huge professional as well. He's the kind of actor that's not afraid to take his time with a scene. And that's something that's really important because, it's such a quick business. You can kind of lose sight of what you need to do in any given moment. And so he really makes sure that, okay, I want this to be good. I want this scene to look right. And that's something that I'm eventually going to want to like incorporate into my sort of film and directing career in the future. So yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. Do you have anything in the works, like any ideas that you want to, do maybe post Cobra Kai?
I always have like 5 or 6 ideas at any given time. They all just kind of sit in the back of my mind. Sometimes if I'm like not doing anything, I'll just sit there and think about, oh, what if we had this plot line? What if this happened? What does this character want here? Yeah, it's just super fun to think of ideas. And I have like, a free app to write down scripts and have it properly formatted and everything. I'm always trying to work on something. I have something I'm working on right now. Whether I do it like immediately after Cobra Kai, I don't know. I think I would probably want to take a few classes before then, but I think, yeah, everyone could expect to see something in the future. Who knows? I'd like for you guys to see it.
And that's the fun part, is the conceiving the ideas and executing them from start to finish. Yeah. So I'm super excited to see what you come up with. Whether it's after the season or after Cobra Kai is done. It's always exciting to see new work by different people. So
thank you. Yeah, you're invited to the premiere. You'll be there. And then we'll do an interview for that one.
Absolutely. Hey, just let me know and I'll be there.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So as we start to wrap up here, there's one specific video that I've got to ask about that I watched on YouTube after looking up your IMDb. Tell me about Fartcopter.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh my God, I knew it. Okay. I hate to say this. Well, actually, I don't. That's like one of my proudest works yet. I loved Fartcopter. It was so much fun. When I first auditioned for it, I was 5 foot flat. I know that because my original audition is still out there, and I'm wearing like a little vest, and my hair's like slicked back with like just a bunch of gel. And I give this whole speech, and it was so much fun to finally I got the part. I got to go out, and they tailored a suit to me. And for context, I play a little kid that is addicted to helicopters that make fart noises, and my parents have an intervention for me to try to stop me, but I end up killing them with, I guess, a giant fartcopter. These sound waves make them bleed from their eyes and ears, and I am proud of that. But yeah, it was just so much fun to get to be a part of. That was it was awesome. A lot of great people. I think I spent a solid 2 days. They had like this giant camera with a projector with all the lines. I didn't need it. I had it fully memorized. I was so pumped to be there. But yeah, check it out, Fartcopter. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's on YouTube for those who want to check it out. It looks like so much fun. Like, it's so over the top. It's amazing. It's
what you would expect from Adult Swim. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they had a bunch of infomercials. Like, it was like a collection of them, and that was mine.
No, it was great. Definitely go check it out. I had so much fun watching that video. It just looked like such a blast to make. Like, it's so over the top that you gotta love it. You gotta love stuff like
It
that.
was, yeah, it was actually a funny story. We'll usually, before a season of Cobra Kai, the creators will have a meeting with us to kind of talk about, what to expect in the season and where it's going to go. And I walk in and they're, sitting there and they have like this giant TV just playing Fartcopter. And they're like, "So what's this, buddy?" I'm like, my proudest moment. That's what it is. Yeah, it was awesome.
But that's great that you own it, though. I mean, if it's out there, you might
Yeah,
as well own it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
no,
it.
I regret nothing.
No, absolutely. I love that. That should
Yeah.
be the quote of this podcast. I regret nothing.
That's it. Title. Regret
A-
nothing.
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
what is one piece of advice that you could give to an aspiring actor?
I would say the biggest thing is just stick with it. It's like I said, it's not an overnight thing. And if you love it, you just gotta keep going, hone your craft on the off time if you're not getting any auditions or if you're not, filming anything, because no matter how long you've been doing this, you always could take classes. Like there's always something else to learn. This is not like something that you ever stop studying or practicing. So yeah, stick with it, take classes, and yeah, you can't go wrong. That's what I did.
Do you have any website or social media you'd like to plug so the listeners can follow you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram. My name is just Gianni_DeCenzo, or if you want to see my TikToks, I don't know why you would. That's also, I think, just, yeah, Gianni_DeCenzo. So, yeah, check me out.
And last question, I always like to end the interviews with this. What is one thing, it can be a movie or a series, that you recently watched that you could recommend to somebody?
Oh, okay. I recommend the show You. That is awesome. The third season came out. Yeah, it's a real, train ride, man. That's a crazy show. That's something I would actually love to be a part of one day. Like just something kind of thriller-esque. I would want to play a psychopath. Something just super different from Dimitri now. But yeah, watch You. Not you. You. Watch You.
I've heard good things about it, so I'll have to
Yeah.
I have to check that out. But
Yeah, check it out.
Gianni, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation, and be sure to check out Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, check out Cobra Kai. I get hit a lot.